community violence. It's all hand in hand. But the reason why we're at the state's attorney's office tonight is because my sister Angela, is still waiting for her brother, Timothy Fleming. They have not been transparent. Marla Mosley have stuff sitting right now on her desk and refused to talk to this family. Have not contacted my sister or anything. So I know the feeling because the same exact thing happened to me. My stuff for my brother Tyrone West, she said if I gave them new evidence that she'd be more than willing to review my brother's case and, you know, just apply the law where it needs to be applied. Until this day, she has not did anything. I have not heard anything. And it really broke my heart at a recent rally that I was invited to speak, and she was one of the speakers. It crushed me to hear her talk about someone dying, someone being murdered doing a traffic stop. She says a traffic stop does not warrant the death of someone, literally, and it doesn't. But the fact that my brother was tortured, literally, this is the wall of shame. This is only a few. This may be 9 to 11 of the killer cops. So there were 17 killers involved in the brutal execution of one unarmed man. And the saddest part, I want you guys to focus in. Right here. This is a younger picture of Ruiz. He looks totally different now. But Ruiz, he was the first killer cop to actually pull my brother over. Him and Nicholas Chapman. Right here, this white cop. He pulled my brother out by his dreadlocks. And the saddest part, these are repeat violent offenders that Marilyn Mosley office knows all so well. This is not a secret. Like, this is something that they know that these are repeat violent offenders. But maybe they're not doing anything is because Ruiz is actually married to a prosecutor that works there, Michelle Battle. He's actually in the bed with Michelle Battle every night. So you see how transparent they are. This is ridiculous. But for one unarmed man to be brutally executed, beat to death, in broad daylight for no reason than being black while driving in America. That's the only reason my brother was executed. And we're not just out here for him. And then the saddest part, after all of the pepper spraying, tasing, the torturing, haymakers being thrown, I'm talking about by big men and women, over 200 pounds, kicking and stomping, hitting with batons, torturing one unarmed man in broad daylight with video footage, and we have yet to this day to get any video footage. Nothing. But the saddest part, at the end of it, they let killer David Lewis from Morgan State University come crash up the Morgan State University car to kill one unarmed man. He came to set on my brother's neck. The same way y'all saw Derek Chauvin setting on George Floyd's neck. Well, guess what? This is our Derek Chauvin. This is David Killer Lewis from Morgan, a 320-pound animal that after my brother was beat, tortured in broad daylight, he decided to actually push all of his weight onto my brother's neck until my brother was dead. And he was in a hog-tie position, gasping for air. He was beat over 18 minutes. So when we think about all the horrible things that we are able to see on videotape, what about the stuff you don't see on videotape? And that is horrible. And last week on West Wednesday, we had Marcus, the latest victim in Baltimore City, that they're ready to bury him this weekend coming up. Literally. All because he was having a mental health issue. A mental health crisis should not result into somebody being executed. And the craziest part, they didn't show any of that on the video footage. All they showed was the foolishness, the dog and pony show, the same way they did my sister Angela with Timothy. They killed him in his home, in front of his children, in front of his family. For what? The same thing, a mental health crisis. They're executing us. And the saddest part, these killer cops, they're going through mental health crisis. That's probably the part of the big problem why they murdering us. They go through stuff where they're not getting treatment, and they take their anger and aggression out on innocent people. And that's disgusting. The only thing that should happen in all of these cases is somebody should be arrested and have their day in court and just take it from there. They have no right to play judge, jury, and executioner. And now that we're talking about reopening my brother case, we're not just talking about my brother case. We're talking about any case that has been closed in Baltimore City, including Anthony Anderson's case. Anthony Anderson was tossed on his head like a basketball a year before my brother was executed. So we're talking about all the cases. We're talking about all the cases. And that's why it's very important that we will be in D.C. We will be in D.C. on Saturday, the 28th. And I know it's a lot of stuff going on because you have 3 different things that's going on. You have the impacted families that are speaking out saying enough is enough. Then you have something about voters' rights and something else is going on. I'm not really sure. But the whole thing in a nutshell is enough is enough. We demand that they reopen these cases. And it's just sad that we all can't be on one accord, one purpose, one cause, one fight. And that's how they divide us. And tonight I had my brother who literally walked, and I give him kudos. He walked all the way from Philly. And he has a campaign, and it's not just about community violence, it also uplifts. I'm sorry, I hear something coming. I want to make sure it passes. Okay, I guess it's gone. Okay, so, oh, it's coming, okay. Give me a few seconds, guys. Thank you, guys. So, as I was trying to say, we had my brother Jamal, Mr. Jamal Johnson, literally, and this is not his first time coming to West Wednesday walking from Philadelphia. This is like maybe his 3rd or 4th time, but you know we've been shut down because of the pandemic and things like that. So, but for the past few years, he has been joining us. But he has a campaign, and it's called Stop Killing Us. And we have 3 special guests that literally walked here from Philadelphia. And they've been walking, and they don't just uphold police brutality victim names. They uphold all victims, including homicides. You know, it's senseless violence. It has to stop. And what I would call the purge, because it's happening in every city. Like I know some of this is, you know, some of us or whatever, but at the same time, none of this stuff is making right. And I'm sick of hearing about children being found dead. I just woke up this morning right here in Baltimore and heard about 2 young children. They didn't give any details. They just said that they looked like they had some bruises on them and they were dead. And I'm like, come on now. It ain't even been 3 months since the last 2 children that were in the back of somebody's car that was dead almost a year. You know, like enough's not, like who is going to protect us? Like literally, you're not safe. Babies are not safe. No one is safe. So the only people that we can save is ourselves. So no further ado, I'm going to bring up my brother Jamal, and then I'm going to bring up my sister Angela, and we're just going to take it from there. Mic check.
Mic check.
Good evening. How are you doing? My name is Jamal Johnson, and I'm here to support Sister Tawanda in reference to what she does every Wednesday for West Wednesday. I came out here the first time a few years ago. This is our 5th year doing this march from Philly to D.C. The purpose of the Stop Killing Us SKU March is to address 2 issues. The first 2 years, it was police brutality because of the way they were shooting us down in the streets, and we wanted some action. Obviously, we all aware now that there's a bill, George Floyd bill, Police Accountability Act, that has not been passed. We don't know why they're still sitting on the Senate, but we're going down to D.C. and ask some people that are supposed to be making sure this gets done, because since it's been put in place, other things have been passed, but the George Floyd Act still remains. And just for those who may have forgotten who George Floyd is, he was murdered by Derek Chauvin in Minnesota. Chauvin has since been convicted and is in jail. I forgot the amount of years, but still, the bill has not been legislated. It has not been put into effect to stop other police around the country from doing the same thing they did to that young man right there. Secondly, the reason we're down here on our way to D.C. is because we're trying to address the gun violence epidemic that's happening throughout our whole country and our cities. Philadelphia right now has 350 homicides to today. We're trying to stop it. At the beginning of this year, I had a hunger strike that lasted 26 days outside the mayor's office and outside Mayor Kenny's home, because I wanted to know why he would not address this as urgently and as seriously as he was during the COVID crisis. He came down and agreed that he would address this resolution that spoke about gun violence, but since then he has not done much. So I'm going also to the lawmakers to ask them to try to motivate him to try to stop this carnage that's happening on our streets. This is men, women, and children. The little young lady that's on my mask, her name is Nicolette Rivera. She was sitting on her mother's lap in her house, and some animal put a gun through the mail slot and shot her and killed her. These are the kind of things we're dealing with. So we got the police taking us out of here, and unfortunately we got ourselves taking us out of here. And we're here to try to stop both, to do whatever we can. We're happy to be coming back through Baltimore again, but we'd like to invite everybody who can make it, in addition to the event that they're having, which is most definitely important. We're also going to have an event down at the Congressional Black Caucus on Saturday at 28th at 1 o'clock, at which time we're going to talk about what's going on and what's not happening with our legislators when it comes to the things that are affecting our communities. Anybody is encouraged, if you like, if you have time to join us. We still have about 3 days left in walking. We're walking straight down Route 1, so you can meet us out. We'll be out there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I believe we're down at Mission Barbecue off of on Route 1. We'll be taking that. But if you go to my page, Facebook page, Jamal Johnson SKU, you can get all the information, and also you can monitor us all the way and look at some of the stuff we put on there from before when we left Philadelphia. I'd like to say that I have two other people that came with me that I've known for quite some time. Jenny here has been with me since we did a march called the NAACP 2015 American Journey for Justice March from Selma, Alabama to Washington, D.C. That march was to highlight the rights that we all are entitled to and to make sure that we continue to have them despite all of the political finagling that's going on down in D.C. Other than that, I got a brother here named Mark Schuler. He and I met in the military. He was a recruit. I was a drill instructor, his drill instructor. So I kind of invited him into the wild world of the Marine Corps. And he's come out now, I think it's like 40-some years later, and he's out here walking with me and trying to get some justice in our communities. So I appreciate, again, coming out. I appreciate the people who are here. And if I can help you any way, at any time, please reach out to me. I have no problem coming on back to Baltimore and supporting Tawanda and what she's trying to do. And let's get some justice for all of us. Thank you.
And again, before I bring my sister up, I just want to also talk about the two latest video releases that they showed, what they wanted to show. They showed where a young man that they claim that pointed a gun that obviously had mental health issues, right, not to like blocks, like literally down the street, and they were quick to shoot him. It wasn't enough. There was no taser. They quick to shoot him, and the commissioner's quick to say, oh, it was justified. Literally right across the street. But the interesting part is with my brother that was actually executed, Marcus Martin, that was having a health issue. They keep confusing video. Why y'all showing two different videos that have nothing to do with nothing? For one, they made it seem like the media is so dirty, and I'm kind of glad they didn't show up tonight. I was hoping that my good friends from Channel 2 came, maybe they had something else to cover, but we all on news. It is what it is. We're going to keep it moving. But I said I'd like to say, Marcus Martin, he had 5 registered guns in his home that he can have to protect his family. So let's be crystal clear. He didn't have a record, obviously, because if he did, it would have been plastered all on the news. It would have said, oh, he had this, he had that, he had this. The only thing that we know for certain, we know that he was going through a mental health crisis, and we also know that he had recently lost his job. And in the economy of dealing with the pandemic at a crisis time right now, where you need every dollar. Imagine you show up to work, and for some odd reason, your job lets you go. If that's not enough to take you over, I'm not saying to make you commit crimes or anything, but it's very stressful. And his family wasn't calling saying nobody was held hostage. They were saying, hey, our loved one needs medical attention right now. He's having a mental health crisis. Could you send someone out? They never asked for Baltimore City Police Department at all. They treated it like a hostage situation. And then what they did was real dirty. They got on camera the family members that they used to try to come out there and talk, what's going on? Do he have any weapons? All this, why do he have weapons? And the young lady, said that, there was no reason that he shouldn't have had one. Like, everybody can go through, but he wasn't like deemed to where as though he, might have been under doctor's care and said that he couldn't have any weapons. Anybody can go through a mental health crisis, and, that's why they called for help to take him through the whole protocol. But what did they do? They executed him. And the crazy part, what the media did that made me sad and disgusted, they lied and said that Marcus shot at them. That's what they said. They said Marcus shot at them, and they had to take matters in their own hand. But really, they had a tactical hostage sharpshooter take him out, and they didn't show that part because he shot at a damn robot. Just imagine they take all your loved ones that's helping you go through a mental health crisis that you need your family, like, we got you, we're ready to go to the hospital type of thing. They remove everybody. Your children, your wife, everybody that could have talked reason to you to say, come on. The same thing they did to Corinne Gaines and tried to kill her baby son. The same exact goddamn thing. And then at the same time, now they don't want to pay the family, they want to give them what they want to do. This is sad and ridiculous, but we need to stick to the facts. Don't let the media tell you this foolishness. Don't let them give you a regurgitation of the killer cops. He was executed. He was executed. And they showed all 11 minutes of the video foolishness besides the part when they sent the robot or whatever and they shot him dead. And we don't know how many times he was shot. We still don't know, but he was executed. So you execute him for shooting a robot? Are you freaking kidding me? A robot can be replaced, a life cannot. You took a father away, you took a hard worker away that just recently lost his damn job. That is sad. And then I had his cousin on West Wednesday, and his cousin said that he was the inspiration of his life. He said, don't settle for less than life. He said, you don't got to go around mopping people's floors, cleaning up. You deserve better. So he told, from what I know, he told his family to go for the sky. Go for the sky. The sky's the limit. Go for the stars, past the stars. Do the right thing. And apparently, he was doing the right thing. Like I said, no criminal record. And he was registered. He didn't have no illegal weapons. They wanted him to have, we found this type of, no. They were all legal. The same way they have guns in their homes that are legal to protect their families from intruders, it's the same way Marcus had things going on in his house. And then also, my sister Angela, come on up, sweetie. Her brother did not deserve to be executed, and that is the reason why we are down here. He was going through a mental health crisis, and what did they do? They try to talk nice. All you see on the video, but they set them up to execute him, and then bam, bam, and it's over with. Enough is enough, and we demand that Marilyn Mulvey sat down with this family and give them accountability the same way we demand that all that stuff sitting on your desk for 2 to 3 years, you need to look at it, miss. And the same way you going after innocent man Keith Davis Jr., use that same energy, says that same energy, and go after these killer cops. You didn't even use that same energy when the killers of Freddie Gray, all 6 of them walked. You just let them walk. No energy was necessary, but you going at it over and over again. It's a persecution at this point. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
August 2nd, and when she saw me, she looked like she seen a ghost. I keep telling you I'm going to be back in the city every chance I get until you prosecute these 2 killer cops. Gaston Melendez and Jason Zimmerman went into my brother's house and killed him in cold blood.
Shame.
My 11-year-old nephew was 10 years old. May 16th, when he called the police for help for his father. But when they got there, they didn't help him, they killed him. So now, my 10-year-old nephew is 11 years old because he turned 11 in June. He doesn't have a father, so does my 12-year-old nephew doesn't have a father. My 13-year-old niece doesn't have a father. My brother has left 3 young kids. Well, let me say this another way. The police has taken away a father to 3 young kids that provided for his 3 young kids, okay? Let's get that clear. Marilyn Mosby, she's always talking about prosecuting. She's not prosecuting killer cops. She had a nerve to say August 2nd that nobody had her back. That's because you're fighting for the wrong side. You need to prosecute these killer cops. Then somebody might have your back. Marilyn Mosby and her husband out here begging for money, for legal issues. That's funny. Legal issues. Funny. Begging the people of Baltimore for money that's already paying her. Really. Begging. And they already paying you and you're begging? That's double dipping. That's double dipping. Marilyn Mosby, Brandon Scott, Michael Harrison. Michael Harrison, Brandon Scott, y'all keep talking about police reform. What's the reform? Fucking killing us? Because that's the only reform I see y'all doing. Y'all not cleaning these streets. The only thing y'all doing is just trying to kill us one by one. It don't even matter who you kill. It don't matter. Listen, I'm going to be here every week if I can. If not, I'm going to be on Live West Wednesday. You're going to keep seeing my face. You're going to keep hearing my voice. And I'm going to keep being here until I get an answer. I have no autopsy report, no investigative report. It's been since May 16th.
Shame. Shame. How about since when?
May 16th, when my brother was executed in his home.
No, what's that report?
1824 East Lafayette Avenue. Murdered in his home by 2 killer cops. Shot 7 times.
Shame.
They said it wasn't excessive. They let off 12 rounds.
Wow.
His mother was right in the bedroom directly in the line of fire. His son was in the bedroom in the line of fire, and then his girlfriend was right there in the line of fire, and they said it wasn't excessive force.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
These killer cops need to be prosecuted. They need to be prosecuted. I'm going to keep calling them out, and I'm going to keep saying their names. Gaston Melendez, Jason Zimmerman. I bet y'all at home with y'all kids and families and shit, but my brother is dead, and his kids are home without a father.
Shame.
My only little brother is gone. This has really got to stop. You know, the Bible said an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but we don't want to go that route.
Right.
We really don't. We really don't. But they got to start prosecuting. Marilyn Mosby, you got to start prosecuting. You got to start prosecuting. Well, shit, she might be going to jail soon. Or out of a job. But somebody really needs to start prosecuting these killer cops. Mic check.
Mic check!
And I want to let you know, sis, we got your back all the way to the door, beyond the door. We got your back, my queen. And I just also, while I'm up here, I wanted to talk about Nicholas Lee.
That's right.
Nicholas Lee that nobody's talking about. A young brother from the Nation of Islam. I'm talking about suit, waves in his hair, tied, well-dressed, well-mannered, guitar player, no criminal record. Had his family. What was this, like last month, 2 months ago? It's going on 2 months. Yes. well, 2 months now, his family, his baby, his wife, they're going in Giants where the mayor's mother works at, in Ricerstown Plaza.
Yeah.
Going there, and some unknown killer security guard, we don't know if he was an undercover cop, we don't know, but a security guard, we don't know if he charged, executed him in cold blood in Giants, had people ducking and dodging behind groceries, and nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about. And what's the kid name that was found in his father's wall? Hassan Jones. Nobody's talking about that. Hassan Jones. Killer cop. Herb Eubanks. Murdered his stepson. Put him in the wall. Nobody's talking about that. But my thing is, I'm going to talk about it.
That's right.
Why do these killer cops feel so comfortable with killing us? Because they know nothing's going to happen. They have all these laws already on the books that they ain't going to do nothing. Even if we change them or not. And this is the first time we saw Derek Chauvin get some time, like literally. And that's only because the whole world stood up at the same damn time in the pandemic and said, you know what, I'm talking about all around the world. That's the only reason why. But the same way we stood up all around the world about George Floyd, that needs to be every case. Like my sister Ishton Robinson says, Dr. Ishton Robinson says, every case matters. Not just the ones that you hear about on the news, because there's a lot of cases that we week after week that you don't even know about. You don't even know about. And what they do, the first thing they do is they play the community violence against police brutality. The first thing they'll say is, why ain't nobody out there for the community violence? Why y'all ain't doing this? Why y'all ain't doing that? Check this out. Let's be clear. First of all, we out here for everybody, because guess what? We're the ones dying. Whether it's a bullet from, because bullets don't have names. Whether it's community violence, whether it's police brutality. But the big difference, let me keep the big difference in your head. The big difference with police brutality, we know who they are. We know what they did. They torn out families, and they get no time. They get to hide behind a badge and be placed above the law and say, I feared for my life. They're the only, let's be clear, they're the only job, employee, that can say, I fear for my life. If we saw firefighters that should fear for their life, every day they go in massive fires.
That's right.
Stuff is collapsing on their head. They don't know if they're going to make it back out to see their family, their son, their daughter, their grandmother, whoever, their loved ones, their friends. They don't know. But let them go sit on the curb and let the chief pull up and say, oh my God, that house is burning down with that family. Why didn't y'all go see him? Could they say, I feared for my life?
Nope.
No. What do you think would happen to them? They will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. So why aren't these killer cops being prosecuted for the full extent of the law? Because guess what? Talk about where they started from. There's always a beginning and there's always an end. The beginning of policing started with slave catching. And guess what? They still have that mentality.
Yep, that's right.
They still have that mentality. They was hanging us from trees every 24 hours. Now they beating us in the street and putting bullets in us. They replace modern day lynching from a capitalist system that plays us. To me, I feel like we need to smash this capitalist system. I'm tired of talking about it. I done negotiated 8 years now, y'all. 8 years that done talked to me. I done met with Lonnie Gotti and everybody, the DOJ. I done met with people, commissioners from around the world. I done met with everybody, like literally everybody. I'm wore out, like, and they all talking the same. Everybody keep documenting our pain, our trauma, our dehumanization. They keep documenting, but nobody's doing anything.
Nothing.
They're not doing anything at all. Nothing at all. But letting us get killed in the streets. And last but not least, before I pass the mic on for anybody else that feels like talking, I want to give a shout out and send lots of love to my sister. Her son was actually killed. Just imagine, like, where are we safe at? Her son, Fred Cox, was actually killed in a church. Are you kidding me? At a funeral. You go mourn your loved one. And he told his mom he wasn't really up to funerals. He didn't like going to sad funerals and things of that nature. So finally he said, you know what, I want to pay the respects to my friend. I want to go support his family. And he's outside the funeral, he go back to his truck to get something. And just that fast, Miss Tanika said that while he was out there, somebody started shooting. Just like I told you, random bullets don't have names. Somebody actually started shooting. And Fred Cox being a hero, I'm sorry, let's let this pass, please. But Fred Cox being the hero that he was, it was a 12-year-old child in line of catching a bullet. What did Fred Cox do? He got out of his truck, grabbed that child, and he lost his life. 18 years old. 18 years old. And the sad part for them to cover it up and make, first they try to say it was a gang member, which they got it right the first time. Yeah, gang member, legalized gang member.
That's right.
They said it right.
That's right.
But they just left it as gang member. They didn't say legalized gang member, undercover cop.
That's right.
Undercover killer. Undercover killer. Actually executed her son in cold blood. Her only son. I don't ever want to feel that type of pain. As a mother of 4 beautiful children, I don't ever want to feel that type of pain. And my heart goes out that she has the breath to be in her body, to able to talk and not be on somebody's psych ward, getting medical treatment daily. Her only son. And if that wasn't enough, his father couldn't take it. He died shortly after from a broken heart. Yeah. He died. Literally died, told her, I can't take this. Her only brother was killed by community violence. So let's talk about how all this stuff is connected. It's called the highway of hell, baby. They try to play us like police brutalities over here, community violence is over here, homelessness. No, it's hand in hand. It's called the corrupt system that needs to be smashed and trashed ASAP. That's what needs to happen. We need to pull together, one accord, one fight, one cause, one purpose, knock it down and build it back up. Build a new society where everybody is loved. Build a new society where nobody's judged from the color of their skin.
That's right.
Or the amount of money they got in their pocketbook. We need a new society. We need that society ASAP. Because how many babies gotta die? How many elderly people gotta die? Nobody's safe. And that's too much of trauma on us. I'm suffering mental health. Because this is too much for me to deal with. Even though I work through my mental health, I know what triggers me, but I'm suffering mental health. Worrying about every day, every time my phone rings late at night. Oh my God, did somebody in my family get murdered? Because I got that call nobody ever wanted to get. When my cousin Tavon Anderson, may he rest in peace, was executed. And all they can name him as a number, a statistic number. He's more than a damn statistic number.
That's right.
Till you want to be all these 300 plus homicides. Our loved ones that we read every day on these lists are more than numbers. And it's sad that that's how the media said, oh, we're at 320 something murders. And like it's cute. Like they talking about something trendy. Ain't nothing trendy about somebody's loved one getting murdered. Ain't nothing trendy about not standing here and I gotta keep looking around every second, not knowing if a bullet's gonna come my way. Not knowing if they're gonna send somebody in the community to wipe me out. Not knowing if a killer cop might run from out there and say they thought this book was a weapon. Lock the weapon and blow my brains out. And all I got is a damn book talking about victims. A book that I give homage to all the victims. But we need to say enough is enough and stop letting them play us. We are more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our freaking lives matter. It may not matter to the ones that are executing us, but it matters to the families that you leave behind.
That's right.
And shout out to Corinne Gaines' mother. Because her baby would have been 29 this year. Her birthday just passed the other day. We gotta always say, happy heavenly birthday. How many damn times? Ain't nothing happy about being in heaven when you're supposed to be on earth.
That's right.
I'm just gonna be honest. Like, yeah, when I die, I do want to be in heaven. Don't get me wrong, because I damn sure don't want to burn.
That's right.
But at the same time, it's nothing happy about happy. No.
29
At 29, even at my brother who couldn't even see his 52nd birthday, my oldest brother, that was like a father to me. And I could say happy, heavenly, but ain't nothing happy about that. There's nothing happy about that.
That's right, sis. It's not.
Not a damn thing. And they keep killing our lovers. I don't know what to say to my brother children, but I love you and I'm going to keep fighting. That's why I do what I do daily, every week. Non-stop, losing loved ones that didn't get a chance to see accountability. I might never see a chance for accountability. But I'm just praying that one day we will see a chance for accountability. We need to knock it down, build it back up. Mic check.
Mic check! Mic check! Mic check. Come on. Ladies first.
Thank you, love. While we're out here, okay, my shirt says, Marilyn Mosby does not prosecute killer cops because she doesn't.
She doesn't.
And she is currently on a face-saving tour, image-saving tour, going around touting false-ass numbers about whatever she wants to call solving and putting people in jail and all this stuff, but she doesn't put in the numbers that how many of these cases are bogus, how many she just wants to do to pump up her numbers. I served on grand jury. I know how many cases they bring in front of the grand jury every day. We're the only city that has a full-time grand jury that runs from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and you serve for 4 months every day. Grand jury, a full-time job, because of all the bogus cases her staff tries to bring in there for indictment. So she fudges the numbers. She was on the same kind of tour 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I confronted her at a community meeting for the illegal raid of my home by a bunch of dirty-ass cops, Bernardes Ruiz being one of them. And she had no answer. She had no answer of why these cops are running amok all over the streets and terrorizing people. They're terrorists. They're a gang and they're terrorists. But she's out here touting numbers and all this kind of stuff, and she doesn't want to admit that she is part of a system that is set up on purpose to have bodies in beds in the private prison industry system. And this all started right after emancipation, and it was called peonage, because since slavery was outlawed, they participated in peonage. And what they would do is the sheriff would be approached by some landowner. I just purchased a bunch of acres. I need some people to work my property. And the sheriff would go down into town and charge all the black people, all the black men, with vagrancy and just loitering. And then they would make them sign a contract that they couldn't read with an X saying that they would work for them for 10 months, but they would basically kidnap them. Their families wouldn't even know what happened to them. The judges were in on it. The police were in on it. Everybody, legislators were in on it because they owned the lands that needed to be worked. So all of this, doesn't it sound familiar?
Still going on now?
Doesn't it sound familiar? I'm watching this PBS documentary and I'm like, what the hell has changed? What has changed? Still bogus charges, still innocent people in jail, still filling the beds for profit. And everybody turned a blind eye, including the judges, including the forensic scientists, supposed that we have here. They're all corrupt. All kinds of stories coming out of tainted evidence, people that they got to drop cases on. But yeah, Mosby won't tell you that. And she won't tell you about these sorry-ass detectives like Mr. Delgado here. Mr. Delgado is supposedly like an elite cop because he's a detective and he's inept. And he's all hell-bent on getting his cops cleared. Any cop that kills somebody gets cleared by the detective supposedly investigating their case, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, Mosby is part of it, and you have to really beware of who you put in into positions of power, who you vote for. She's running for re-election. She's running for re-election all at the beginning of 2022. She is trying Keith Davis Jr. for the 6th time in May of 2022, and our primary is June 28th. So a month later, after trying this innocent man for the 6th time, she is going to try and maintain this office. And we have to say, hell no. No more Mosby. Her and her husband should be also put on trial. Her and her husband put on trial. He has no business being the city council president. She has no business being the state's attorney. And we need to vote her ass out. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
My name's Shorty, and I don't talk very much. I do, and I do. Alright? They talking about Marilyn Mosby, Nick Mosby. We talking about the Democratic Party in the state of Maryland. Governor O'Malley set up this mine machine, and that's part of the machine. This machine is an offshoot of some corruption from Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I came here straight out the Illinois Department of Corrections in 1991. This machine that they got is for slavery, like she said. We traded the penitentiary for the plantation cotton for cocaine, and our kids is a cash crop. Our kids go to jail, but white people go to treatment. Our kids go to jail, but white people go to treatment. Now we're talking about the crack epidemic, and we're talking about the meth epidemic. Now crack killed our community, and meth is killing the white community, but ain't no white people going to jail. White people going to treatment. This war on drugs is a dogmatic word for the war on the black community. It's racism 101. On December the 2nd, 2006, my son was killed in Chicago. I had to bury my son. On November the 28th, 2006, Governor O'Malley approved this program called Get Shorty. This Get Shorty program was about exposing Governor O'Malley and his mine machine. Governor O'Malley got 9 judges. Those 9 judges got 5 friends. He got 45 judges sitting in court to keep us oppressed. He got 45 judges to keep us oppressed. Judge Souder, Judge Janae, Judge Papaya, Judge Holland, Judge Pearson, and I named your names because I put it on court record. On February the 2nd, 2011, I blew the whistle on Greg Bernstein, Scott Schellenberger, and those judges in Governor O'Malley's mine machine. Y'all locked me up and charged me with terrorism. Y'all charged me with terrorism and held me for 58 days.
Shame.
The same thing that y'all did to Freddie Gray, the same thing that you did to Tyrone West, you did to me. The only thing different between them and me, I'm still alive and breathing. I don't know how to shut up. When I started this in 2006, I started it with a camera in the conversation, talking about race and racism in my store on Falls Road, and we've been doing it ever since. Ryan Dorsey know me. Ryan Dorsey got a jailhouse diary. Brandon Scott know me. He got information. This is your mayor. And if you look at this information at the bottom of it, it said whistleblowers. The same way that GOP Carter blew the whistle on Marilyn Pugh, I blew the whistle on the Democratic Party. You got 52 members of the Democratic Party that participate in racism. Racism don't work without black cooperation. You seen the movie, The 13th Amendment? You read the book, The New Face of Old Jim Crow? Well, you got that going on right here. And this is the new face of Old Jim Crow, right here in front of me. Jack Young, Stephanie Rawlins Blake, Dixon, when they did stop and frisk and zero tolerance, y'all was just locking up black people. Black people ain't the only ones that use drugs in Baltimore. Alright? That's the commodity here. Baltimore's surety bond, their 401ks, are tied to the Alabama state prison industry. Alabama state prison industry is their #1 product. Is black people, incarceration. Now if you don't believe me, go to Governor Hogan. He got my information. Go to Brian Frost. Marilyn Mosby threw me out the office yesterday. I came in here and gave her my whistleblower's application. But they get GOP Carter's whistleblower application against Mayor Pugh, If we're going to dismantle a master's house, we got to use the master's tools. To dismantle the master's house, you got to use the master's tools, and the master uses the court on you. So you to beat them in court. And right here, I beat them in court. They took me to court, and I won. I'm not a terrorist, I'm an activist. I'm a jailhouse lawyer, I ain't a jailhouse snitch. You feel me? Big difference. Right here, it says I was making a movie about, read it right here. It says Clinton Kelly, 2007, I was making a documentary. The documentary is about the Democratic Party. It's about how you breed new corruption. Because this ain't nothing new. This been going on. Martin Luther King told you back when he was in jail, letters from a Birmingham jail. He told you about the haves and the have-nots. These is the haves. Tawanda Jones and me, we the have-nots. You making money off of black people and black people doing it. Then you can't call it racism. Now the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, we know the Republicans is racist. But the Democrats is doing the same thing as the Republicans is doing. They eating off black bodies. And these black bodies that they eating off is your sons and your daughters. Because I'm too old to go to jail. I'm not worth $47,000 a year. I'm not worth $2 million for my guts, lungs, and heart. You feel me? You harvesting bodies and you harvesting us like property. So on that note, Marilyn Mosby, the state prosecutor, Governor Hogan, President Biden, we need the Department of Justice with a full federal investigation for Tawanda Jones, for Anthony Anderson. We need the Department of Justice for Tyrone West, for Tawanda Davis. We need the Department of Justice here for black people to bring cases that the police won't look at here in Baltimore. My end game here, what I've been doing for the last 10 years, I want to go to the Supreme Court. I am Dred Scott. Do blacks have rights which white America respects? Because that's the only way we're going to beat them, is beat them in court. We can march in the streets all day long, but the only change that's going to come is when they sign that paper and saying that we're really free. Because freedom ain't never free unless we fight for it. Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check.
Mic check!
Mic
Very good to be with everyone again. I just want to mention three things quickly. Last night on the planning meeting for the March on Washington Saturday, I learned something. It turns out that the reason the March on Washington in 1963 was scheduled for August 28th is because that was the anniversary of the lynching of Emmett Till. And again, this Saturday we're going down there on that same date. And the police are killing 4 times as many people now as lynchings were killing during the Jim Crow period. So it's very serious. Second thing, one of the distinguishing things about Mass Action Against Police Brutality, who along with West Wednesday is sponsoring the rally in Washington, is that they say when you fight for more cameras on the cops, more sensitivity training, more, what do they call it? The boards that are supposed to discipline cops, police accountability, and so on. They say that when you fight for those things, essentially you're fighting to make the police look better, to put a pretty face on an ugly reality. But when you focus on trying to put the killer cops in jail, that's serious, that's what we're fighting for, and that's the point of this Saturday's rally. For those that want to go, we're going to meet at 9 o'clock in the morning at the 33rd Street Y, and it'd be great to have you join in, and then we're going to go on down to Washington, D.C. for that rally. I'm going to give out a copy of the challenge paper today. It has an article, I think it's page 4, about West Wednesday and the revolutionary ideas that play a role in West Wednesday. I hope you'll all take a look at it. And do you want me to read names of people killed by police, or is it too late?
So before we read the sad list, y'all know that I like to show homage for the families and let y'all know that it's just more than just him reading from a list. These are impacted families. Their lives have been changed forever. Whether if they're on the police brutality list, or unfortunately our sad list of homicides right here in our own city. So tonight, Uncle Bill, and welcome back. We missed you. I've been seeing all the beautiful pictures of Camp Blights. It looked like you guys had a nice time, and I'm glad you guys did. So, but can we please take 1 minute of silence? Just to, if you pray, pray, or if you don't pray, keep these families in thought. And then try to figure out what can we do to stop these names from constantly being on the list week after week after week after week, which really is day after day after day after day, because we only meet up once a week. So that means every day somebody's getting killed somewhere in some city or state by people that's supposed to serve and protect. So let's just take 1 minute, please. Thank you for your minute. Mic check.
Mic check!
So I'll be reading the names and honoring those who've been killed by the police, the stolen lives in the most recent week. Starting on August the 16th, 42 years old, and it was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. If you can repeat after me and uphold his name, Broderick Shelton.
Broderick Shelton.
Also on August 16th, 27 years old, in Memphis, Tennessee, Antonio Jackson.
Antonio Jackson.
Then on August 17th, in Arvada, Colorado, 27 years old, Destiny Thompson.
Destiny Thompson.
August 18th, in, I don't know how to pronounce this, Pflugerville, Texas, 72 years old, Ronald Zavaglia.
Ronald Zavaglia.
Killed in Berkeley, West Virginia, not far from here, August the 18th, 50 years old, had a toy weapon, Kevin Norris.
Kevin Norris.
Killed by police in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, also on August 18th, 29 years old, Terrence Bay.
Terrence Bay.
Killed by police on August 18th again, Marietta, Georgia, 28 years old, Devontae Brown.
Devontae Brown.
Killed on August 18th once more, Highland, California, 34 years old, Irvin Olakong.
Irvin Olakong.
August 19th in Selawik, Alaska, 26 years old, Douglas Brown.
Douglas Brown.
Killed by police in Cajun, California on August 19th. Oh, I'm sorry, this person hasn't been identified yet by the Washington Post.
Ashe.
August the 20th in Amarillo, Texas, 34 years old, George Morales.
George Morales.
August 20th in Chanute, Kansas, 28 years old, Brandon Schlichting.
Brandon Schlichting.
In Allenhurst, Georgia, August 21st, 45 years old, Darrell Carr.
Darrell Carr.
August 21st, killed by police in Florence, Mississippi, 28 years old, Shannon McKinley.
Shannon McKinley.
Killed by police in Guadalupe, California, August 22nd, 59 years old, Juan Alvera Preciado.
Juan Alvera Preciado.
On August 22nd in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 31 years old, has not yet been identified.
Ashe.
August 23rd in Butler, Pennsylvania, 35 years old, John Eberts.
John Eberts.
August 23rd in Amarillo, Texas, once again, 42 years old, Trinidad Mary.
Trinidad Mary.
In Payson, Arizona, on August 24th, 31 years old, has not yet been identified.
Ashe.
And that's the last person we have to honor this evening, killed by police. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And I just want to say, like, it breaks my heart to hear any of the victim ages, names, doesn't matter. But it's real sad that he said somebody in their 70s got killed by the police. And another thing that I want to say too, I hate when like the newspaper, and I know hate is such a strong word, but it irks me so much. But I dislike very much when they say, oh, the person had a toy weapon. Who gives it them? Like, that to me is giving them the right of way, right there, the free willy pass to get off. I don't care what they had. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that is sad. And it irks me when they was, oh, they had a toy weapon. What about the ones, what about the serial killers that execute people in the church and everywhere else, and they walk into accountability with a bulletproof vest and a burger? Like, what's the difference? What about in D.C.? In D.C. recently, a maniac pulls up talking about he had a bomb, all this and that. Did they do him like Shorty, who they thought his toilet? How you think a toilet is a bomb? Like, they took everything from my brother Shorty. And then they're talking about, oh,
they didn't take everything from me.
Well,
I got y'all.
Amen.
I got y'all.
Amen.
I'd rather have $1 million friends than $1 million.
Amen. So yeah, so like they definitely didn't take us. But the fact that they did what they did to him and put all these heinous charges on him, called him a terrorist, when you really got a terrorist going right to the Capitol saying things. And let's not forget about the insurrection, where you had all terrorists, police officers, everybody, and I'm quite sure they're not going to get charged like that. And it's just sad, like, but they make us to be terrorists, people that are fighting for our families, people that are standing up for what's right. He was simply standing outside Towson Courthouse putting politicians out there. Nothing more, nothing less.
And still do it.
Ain't
gonna stop.
That's right. But the fact about it was, they walked this guy, this terrorist, to accountability and said, oh, you know, everything was de-escalated. Like, we knew that. He's white. Come on now. But then they killed Marcus right in his home for shooting a robot. Probably that he feared, because he probably thought the robot might come in there and shoot him. They done turned out the lights, they done took your family out there, and now they got a robot probably ready to execute you, and you having a mental crisis. You gonna shoot at a robot.
That's right. Same
like, come on,
robot
let's be real. You going, like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I said all this to say that we need to pull together. We gotta do better, y'all. Like, I commend y'all for all the hard work y'all do, especially the fact that most of y'all out here have not been affected, right? Directly affected, that one of y'all loved ones was either murdered in the street or actually killed by police. And the fact that week after week y'all support us, I give y'all mad love and respect for that. And it's sad that the ones that are killed, they home somewhere and they need to be out here. They should have been right here supporting my sister. Because they can easily be their brother. But the saddest part, what they'll do is wait till it hits their brother. Wait till it's one of their loved ones. Then they're going to want everybody to come out. We should come out now. Every case matters. And I know my brother Brian, you got that sad list. And before we go into that sad list, that changes somebody's life forever. Literally, you go to sleep, and even if you're having an altercation with your loved one, just knowing, okay, tomorrow I'm going to make up to them, or, you know, whatever. You're thinking that we always think that we got tomorrow. Nobody plans to actually die or get murdered. Like, especially if somebody's not on hospice care, sick, and even when your loved one's on hospice care, you be trying to beg God or beg a higher power, whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in, please don't take my loved one like this. Unless they suffering really bad, can they get an extra day or two? You still don't want to hear that grim reality. You don't want to hear it. But to actually have your loved one being healthy, have teenage girls, beautiful young babies getting murdered. Like our brother, Mr. Johnson, he had a mask on with a 2-year-old baby on his face that was sitting in our house on somebody's lap, and somebody took a gun and shot through the mailbox and executed a baby. A baby that, who knows what this little 2-year-old girl could have been. She could have been the one that gave us the cure for cancer. Anything. Like, it's just sad. So as we read, as my brother Brian reads this very sad homicide list that to me in my book is probably not updated. Because the way I've been hearing about people getting shot, I don't even like to watch the news. It is very horrible to me. I like literally just peek on there for a few minutes, trying to see what the weather's going to be so I can plan my day accordingly. And then they talk about, oh, well, somebody got killed. And they so happy to talk about a homicide. These are sick, twisted people that actually smile on their face, heartless. And they be like, oh, we reached another homicide last night. Like, really? You should have tears in your eyes. That's somebody's child. That's somebody's father. So let's take a minute, rather if you pray, if you just want to keep that family in thought, or just figure out that we won't have to reach your loved one on the list. I remember we had to actually come on a West Wednesday when my cousin was executed and his name was on the list. That had to be updated the next week after his execution. So let's take 1 minute, please, and show respect. Ashe, and thank you guys for showing respect. And these are more than just names that we're reading. These are somebody's loved ones, somebody's family. So literally when somebody gets murdered, whether it's on Uncle Bill's list, or police brutality list, or homicide list, that's someone loved one that we will never see again. That wasn't an act of God. That was an act of evil, an act of being heartless. No type of humanity whatsoever in taking somebody like, I don't even wish death on the people that murdered my brother. I don't wish death on anyone. Mic check.
Mic check. I was jail.
Oh yeah, I was jail.
They kill themselves.
Hey. All right. So this is a list of people who have died by community violence, and I just want to say, because we heard people talk about community violence and why aren't you stopping community violence? And I go to events that are designed to stop community violence. I go to Ceasefire and I go to places like this, and I see her, and I see him, and him, and him, and her, and her, and her. I see all the people who are here. The people I don't see are the people who are asking, well, why aren't you doing anything? They aren't doing it. They're just looking for an excuse not to do it. The well-to-do white people are sitting there going, well, why aren't you fixing this problem? And they aren't trying. They don't care about the problem. They care about the excuse.
That's right.
So, again, as Tawanda says, these are people, these are families, these are communities, these are friends at work. Some of them are friends at school. So I just ask you to just echo their names back to me. Jose Portillo, 15. Sherry Birmingham, 48. Rashad Marshall, 24.
Rashad Marshall.
Anthony Bugg, 29.
Anthony Bugg, 29.
Mikkel Holman, 20.
Mikkel Holman, 20.
Oh, and one other thing. The other people that I don't see when I'm out there all night doing Ceasefire and showing movies or handing stuff out, people I don't see for more than 15 minutes are people like Mosby and Brandon Scott. And I don't see the politicians out there. The minute the photos team leaves,
As soon as the camera
they're
stops
gone.
clicking, they gone.
And so we we don't need to take that shit from anybody, especially not the politicians.
That's right. Say that
Mic
again.
check.
Mic check. That's my buddy.
Yes. Yeah, that's all out, buddy.
That's my buddy.
That's all out, buddy. But again, it's just said, like you ain't a 15-year-old that should be starting school next week. A 15-year-old that should be starting school next week. The most they should be worrying about is my teacher gonna give me homework tonight. Life gone. And somebody like some family gotta bury their loved one. You gotta go see. Y'all don't know the heartbreaking part about going into a funeral home or going into a hospital to see your lifeless loved one laying there. Y'all don't know how that feels, and I don't want anyone to know how that feels. I feel like every time somebody be murdered, they so hard pressed to announce with no emotion that we're reaching this so-called high statistic. They need to pay for everybody's loved one funeral. Everybody's loved one funeral, they need to pay off the top. And when they have a damn grin on their face, then when you hit them in their pockets. That is sad and disgusting, y'all. Like my heart is broke, like I'm ready to cry. Hearing about somebody, baby, I got teenagers. I got older kids and everything. That's disgusting to me. And then the sad part, we don't even know who next. It becomes a question of who is next. Who we gonna hear about tomorrow? Or next week, like it's sad. And that's not life. Life is supposed to be joyous. Living like with Uncle Bill doing camp lights, worrying about the kids having fun. Like when I see Hillary and Dan, boo loving and just amazing couple goals. Like, that's life. That's life. Like, that's life to me. And that's the life everybody deserves to feel. Have that security blanket. Or now, okay, worst thing, my child might get pulled over, they not going to die. They ain't going to get a warrant. They ain't going to get a ticket, depending on your skin color. But we got to worry about if it's our child. Are they going to make it through the night? Are they going to survive that traffic stop? Are they going to survive outside of a church trying to save somebody's life from a bullet? Or even being in their own home? Timothy Fleming. So again, sister, do you like to say anything before we wrap up? Because we're here to support you. What are your demands? Anything we need to help you guys with? Mic check.
Mic check!
Mic check.
Mic check!
Yeah, I want Marilyn Mosby to give my family the autopsy report to my brother's death. I need an investigative report. I need her to call me, call my family. I'm in town until whenever. I can come to this office whenever. Hell, I might just show up tomorrow morning.
I'll be with you.
There you go. So, Marilyn Mosby, I'm in town. Holla at me, because I'm looking for you for my brother's autopsy report. Brandon Scott, Michael Harrison, y'all police reform is bullshit.
There you go.
Bullshit. I like you.
I said y'all police reform is bullshit.
Right.
Marilyn Mosby, I'm here looking for you. I saw you August 2nd with your $10,000 Gucci bag and you out here begging for money. Take that bag to the pawn shop. Mic check.
Mic check. Bring my loan and jury over.
That's my sister. That's my sister. But on the serious side, if Marilyn Mosby is watching this, or somebody that know her that want to share this with her, the reality is real. We're not asking you to do us any favors, no side deals. We're not asking nothing but you to do your job. Respectfully, to do your job. These killer cats that are still plaguing our community, where people are unsafe, who's next to be pulled over by either Chapman or Ruiz? I don't care if they are sergeants. They can show up at a scene and you see how his demeanor changed. As soon as he gets this big emotion that he feels whatever way he feels, and he starts putting weapons all in people's heads and telling people to get the F back. Get the F back.
Lou's working in Annapolis doing it.
He did the same exact thing when he murdered my brother. And my thing is, Marilyn Mosby, you have all the power in the world.
That's right.
To do your job. It's sitting on your desk. We know that there's no statutation limit on murder, so I'm asking you to do your job.
That's right.
The same way you go after Keith Davis Jr. relentlessly,
Come on now.
an innocent man, and
That's
you need
right.
to actually take the time and look and say enough is enough. Like, we made a mistake with the Keith Davis Jr. Let's really find, because guess what? Kevin Jones' family deserves to find out who murdered Kevin Jones. They deserve that.
That's right.
Same way we need to know who killed Tavon Anderson, and the world needs to know. We need to be able to broadcast them. It's the same way Kevin Jones' family deserve that. Why sit and lie? And y'all want us to trust prosecutors. Y'all want us to trust the process. I don't. I don't give a damn about your process. I don't never want to hear about, oh, trust the process. I don't. Y'all failed me over and over and over again. How many more times? Y'all still failing. And then for your husband, at one point before he became city council president, when he looked at me and he said, I see the hurt in your eyes. I'll never forget it. He seemed so sincere. He said, I commend you for fighting for your brother. I see that hurt in your eyes, and it bothers me, and I really want you to get accountability. Remember, the hurt is still there. Look at my eyes. You need to talk to your wife tonight about the hurt in my eyes that ain't never go nowhere.
That's
That in fact's getting dimmer and dimmer. The same hurt. The same hurt that you said, I see that hurt. And that touched my heart. But more importantly, forget touching my heart. Touch them killer cops and throw their ass in the cell block. I ain't worried about you. Touch them killer cops. Put them in the cell block. That's all we asking. You couldn't get a conviction on those 6 killers that murdered Freddie Gray. I'm quite sure.
That's right.
Take a pick.
That's right.
1 out of 17, I guarantee you can get a conviction. If not all 17 of them stinking animals.
That's right.
These repeat violent offenders. If I was to learn that Ruiz, to this day, well, we don't know, probably got more now. But when my cousin was murdered, I learned that he had 18 additional complaints. What about the people that's too scared to go put their name and number down on paper? Because they're scared of the retaliation, because the retaliation is real.
18 so
when
far.
You wake up, 18 so far, right. The retaliation is real. You wake up not knowing if your car tire is going to be flat, not knowing if the police going to run up in your house, raid your house and plant drugs and weapons there, just to try to get you to be quiet, because you don't want to talk about who murdered your loved one. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
I can't say nothing now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. When I'm able to talk, I'm throwing all y'all to the bus, and my family not going to be able to stop me. I'm quiet now because I respect my family. But when I get to go off, I'm throwing all y'all. And I got proof. I got proof. You need to know I got proof. I keep proof. I keep proof. Because if it ain't in black and white, it ain't recorded, you ain't got nothing. I got my receipts, baby. You better believe that. So on that note, I hope to see all you guys in D.C. to support all the impacted families, because that's the real reason why we in D.C. We not there to turn up. This ain't no goddamn turn up. And whoever think they going there to turn up or somebody goddamn pain, the hell with you. You go turn that way, because I don't get joy by reliving and getting in front of 1 billion people talking about how they slaughtered my brother. I don't get no joy. My sister don't get no joy talking about her brother being murdered. We get no joy out of that. The only thing we're asking and demanding is accountability. We're demanding that you reopen the cases. I would not be. I need to be in my bed on Saturday. I ain't even gonna lie. I've been going week after week after week, weekend after weekend, had no time to actually go to sleep. I be falling asleep on my lunch break at work. I always fall asleep. The last 20 minutes I'm supposed to clock in, I fall asleep. I'm tired, but I'm never too tired for this fight. So I said all that to say, if you guys can meet us in D.C. this week on Saturday the 28th, please come out. And if you can, if you're here in Baltimore, please go support Marcus Martin's family. The funeral was this week. They having everything. I'll post it on my page again. Please go show his family love, because y'all don't know what it feels like to have your loved one murdered, and then it be plastered in the paper like your loved one was the problem, when the problem is never corrected. The problem is these killer cops. The problem is with them not holding them accountable.
That's right.
The problem with them is using these words to twist things around to make shit fit. We tired of that.
That's right.
We tired of that. An execution is an execution. It's not an altercation. That makes it sound like y'all the right. It ain't about none of that. It's about what y'all did. Y'all are executing our young men, women, brothers, fathers, sisters, bro. How many more? Are y'all gonna come kill me next? That's why I keep the heat up on y'all. And I don't care if people think I'm crazy, because I know I'm not. And if y'all didn't drive me crazy in 8 years, guess what? I ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
I ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
So I'm gonna always put y'all there each and every time y'all do something to me. And I'm going to share something with my group later, and I'm going to bring it to their attention, because I want to do more research before I throw it out there. But it's real sick. Something that I just discovered just the other night. And I'm like, what the hell, is my family on some type of sick list? It's sickening. And I can prove my case, because guess what? I got the receipts. If it's not in black and white, it don't count. It means it's fiction. You know, it's some foolishness. I got everything in black and white. So on that note, live to love, love to live. I love you all. See you guys next West Wednesday. Hopefully see you this Saturday. Mic check.